Alrighty. Today we're going to be working on breakdowns and cleanup. So it's going to be an in-between that gets us through these, although I do want to round this off a bit. So this will be done all with tweening. That'll also be tweening. I feel like this back and forth will be just nothing but tweening because it's going to be just, he's just sliding. There's no real change in direction that would justify a breakdown for this part, so I think that the only thing that I'm going to have to worry about for that is this here. And actually, now that I think about it, I've already got the direction implied here. Going from here to here, we already have that arc, and then going from here to here, we already have the body leaning up. Ah, that's the one that we want. So between here and here, I have to figure out how this stage right... Yeah, how the stage right tassel here makes its way out here, which it looks to be that it sort of flops over this way, and at this point, it's actually going to be the top of the sack facing directly towards the camera. We got the tassels up and down before reaching there. So we'll have one where we're looking at the top of the sack, then we're going to need another one where we get to this point and where we'll have a bit of this. Again, we'll still be looking at the top of the sack, but it's going to be curved a little bit since we're getting ready for this curve over here. Alright, let's do it! And I wanted to talk about this in the past video, but I ran out of time. So here I want to have this roll with this foot that's on the ground. So we already have the green and the red here, showing the beginning and the middle. So we have the red where that much of the foot is on the ground, and the green where only that much is on the ground. So on these in between, then in order to always have part of the foot be in the ground in some capacity, my next one should be something along those lines. And I guess following this arc here, and this one here, each one signifying the end of the top seam of the sack, that means that, roughly speaking, my point for up and down should end up here and here. Of course, erasing that dot wouldn't be very helpful. Now, what does a straight up and down of the sack look like? I suppose it probably does like that coming to a point. I suppose at this point we'll have the leg be a little bit more pointed out parallel as opposed to down, since we are making our way this way. Now that I think about it, it doesn't really make any sense for this tassel to have made its way over to this side, when over here, it starts here, will ultimately end up being here, and then suddenly it's over here? Nah, I think I'll just draw it underneath, like that. It just makes the most sense that way. Plus the awkwardness of it adds a little comedic bit to the fall and to him being asleep and not paying attention. And now here we have the tassel angled down this way, so this type of an arc. And then we also, of course, have the same here. Now, one could say that that's because the tassel just arched down this way, just arched down this way, and it just arched down this way, and it just arched down this way, just arched down this way. But I personally think that's kind of boring. I think that it should go up and all the way over. I think that's a lot more interesting and dynamic. It's my art, so yeah. Do what I want. However, to get there, the tassel is going to be straight at this point. Alright, and then the next one, which will be this breakdown here, which we're really only doing, normally we could just do an in-between, but there's a couple of important motions here. There's the tassel making its way outward into this position, and the leg making its way from out here facing out to down here facing down. So we should definitely have a breakdown that sort of guides those motions where they need to go. Which makes me, now that I think about it, this leg here actually shouldn't be this... Oh, you know what? No, what I'll do is I'll have it be out and then go down. Because it's not actually going to start going down until it's forced to, by having momentum from the fall, not being able to do anything with it, and that then forces the leg to go down. Yeah. That's one of the things that we learned from the falling brick, was that the way that the brick turns and where it hits the ground is based off of the fall, not the ground it's going to hit, because the brick is just going to fall the way it falls. And then if it happens to be interrupted by the ground, then it hits the ground at whatever particular point it's at, and then cause and effect happens from there. Similarly, this leg is just reacting to the momentum that's being created by the fall here, and then it's just going to keep lifting up and following the body over, and then if the body happens to stop moving, then the leg just reacts accordingly. And in this case, instead of continuing to be upwards like this, it just swings this way, and ends up down, settling right there. So I'm going to have to do another breakdown after this where he hits the ground and the leg is still up, so that way I can have that as a guideline for then this folding here. I'm starting to think that this is the much more balanced image than this one is. So this would make the most sense for this to be the one that we slow down on. So I'm going to make a note for myself that when I finally end up doing my timing, I'll look into this to see whether or not that's actually what I want to do. And then we'll just sort of have the tassel here kind of folding underneath. I'm not entirely sure why it is that I'm struggling with these tassels so much. Maybe it's just because I'm not thinking about them right. Let me give myself some space to work. There we go. Just to think about it differently. There we go. There we go. Much better. So the one thing that's been sort of getting under my skin here is that if we follow the arc of our fall here, this transitions nicely into this, this to this, this to this, and then, I don't know, it just feels like once we get to this point, we go from having an arc to, like, it just sort of shoves down this way. Yeah. And I'm wondering, maybe if I move him over a bit, maybe that'll fix that. Did that make it any better? It honestly didn't. And you know what I think it might have something to do with? This tassel up here. So the arc is shown really nicely by this point. So then what I can do, highlighting that, pull up onion skin, and now that I have all those circled, I can go back and actually visualize it. Now of course there is this part right here that's sort of like going over and then up. But I'm not going to worry about that because it didn't look like there was a problem like that when I was actually watching the frame by frame. So I can just trust that that part is visually okay because it didn't seem like an issue at the time. But here, actually, it turns out that, look at that. That actually comes out pretty nicely. And even, you know, like just like we've highlighted the tip of the tassel here and here, if we did the same here, again, it actually makes a nice curve. So it's just an optical illusion. Or at least it's not enough of a problem that it justifies going and like remaking all of the frames. So I'm going to swish away all of those concerns and carry on as normal. Thanks, Onionskins. You done good, kids. You done good. Now I wish to make one more breakdown. It is breakdown. We are down here. But leg. The leg is up. And then I might as well continue the right tassel's arc. Or instead of being here, it's like there. So this is where the stack hits the ground and then sort of folds in on itself, and I'm not entirely sure how to express that with these fold lines. I do believe that they sort of evolve over time, so I'm just going to toss those out there and hope that that's good enough. Worst case scenario, I look at it without the onion skins and then make some adjustments like I usually do, but I am completely eyeballing that. I should just put that out there. And then this tassel here needs to be a bit more transitional, and then when I do my copy and pasting to take this frame and make the breathing loop, I'll just change the future tassels. But this one needs to be done here. There we go. The leg's gonna be somewhere up there. There we go. Oh, that's really nice. And then sliding that over, and the guy actually creates this really dynamic parallelogram pose with his body. Man, talk about happy accidents. Now I just gotta switch these tassels over, and I think I'm actually gonna be good with my breakdowns. Fantastic. Let's do a once through of all those before I go to cleaning all of those up. So we have snoring, sway, 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 and snoring. With, of course, an adjusted tassel. Yeah, I think that's really nice. I'll probably end up having to do a little bit of adjustment on this fold here, but that's certainly something that'll sort of happen in the moment. Alright, now we just gotta go and clean up all these keyframes and breakdowns, that way when we do our in-betweening, everything's nice and accurate. Bada bing, bada boom! And we have ourselves our keyframes and breakdowns. Wonderful! Alright. So the next episode we will do, as we have done before, our timing and in-betweening. I think we have a really nice schedule going on here, starting off with our planning and keyframes, breakdowns and cleanup, and then timing and in-betweening. It's a really nice 3-episode schedule that I'm thinking I might try to hold on to. So, I think we've made excellent progress. Hopefully today's video is a little bit on the shorter end to give everyone a break from the much longer episodes that we've had before, and then on Saturday, we'll finish this bad boy up. With that, thank you all very much, and have yourselves a wonderful however long. Continue the adventure to see how this all turns out, and hit subscribe to keep the dream alive. Toss in a like if this series dings all the right doors, and today we're tossing a shout out to Siamese for their simple yet dynamic animation style for The Wolf.